what is your description of kind of the physical battle that Caitlin particularly faces, maybe within tonight's game or just in general as you've gotten used to coaching, or just what you see she's enduring physically?
Are you trying to get me fined again?
I am not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. You know, I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is what it is. And we've got to help her learn to adjust and use it against them in certain ways. You know, we've got to find some ways to make it a little bit easier for her.
Caitlin Clark has finally spoken out, and the timing couldn't be more critical. After days of viral outrage, fan petitions, and total silence from the league, Clark is breaking through the noise. Her statement wasn't long, it wasn't dramatic, but it was powerful.
Did you guys notice all the coaches try to grab CC?
And it's forcing everyone, from fans to league execs, to take a hard look at what just happened. The context? Jacy Sheldon has officially been suspended following a now infamous knee to Clark's groin, a hit so blatant it dominated social media, racking up over 12 million views in just one day.
And I swear, every time these two teams go up against one another, something happens, and it's honestly never good.
Petitions started flying. All-Star tickets were being resold in protest. Even sponsors began whispering concerns. And all the while, the WNBA said nothing. Until Caitlin Clark spoke. She addressed the incident in a post-practice media session, calmly but firmly saying, "I love this game. I play with passion, but it's hard when it feels like I'm the only one not getting protected."
Generational talent, your star player, the cash cow.
Something is not working properly.
When it looked like more information is coming out to how Caitlin Clark re-aggravated that.
That one quote, simple, direct, undeniable, hit like a bombshell. It confirmed what fans feared, that the league's biggest star doesn't feel safe on the court. And who could blame her? The game was already physical. Clark was having a standout night. 14 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, leading Indiana to what should have been their third straight win. She was sharp, in control, and then, in a flash, everything stopped.
So as you guys can see here, she is dribbling down, she plants her foot, she passes the ball to Kelsey Mitchell on the back door, and then when she is running back on the other end of the court, it seems like she's grabbing her.
Sheldon extended her leg, making direct contact with Clark's groin. The pain was immediate. Caitlin dropped, clutched her leg, and for a few seconds, everything froze. The replay, devastating. 2 angles.
And immediately grabs the inside of that right leg.
Sheldon's knee was raised, locked, and driven directly into Clark's midsection. And the referee, staring right at it. No whistle, no call, no review. It wasn't just a missed foul. It was a message. And that's where Clark's voice became even more important, she added, saying, "I just want fair treatment. The same whistles everyone else gets." It wasn't a demand. It was a plea heard by millions, because this isn't the first time Caitlin has been hit, shoved, or jabbed without consequence. And Sheldon? She's not new to this. These two have history. In college, their matchups were intense, marked by constant fouls, elbows, even an eye poke earlier this season.
And I'm here to tell you, it is not a good moment in the fan base. Fans are quiet online. A lot of people are starting to look like they're reselling their All-Star ticket.
That clip's still floating around, too. So when Sheldon delivered that knee, it didn't feel like an accident. It felt like a culmination, and fans knew it. The backlash was swift. Social media lit up with slow-motion replays. Influencers, commentators, and former players chimed in. And through it all, Clark stayed silent. Until now. That's what made her response so impactful. Because it wasn't loud. It was precise, measured, but deeply emotional.
Caitlin Clark is getting hurt damn near every week.
It showed us a player who's fed up, but still hopeful. One who's carrying a league, yet still expected to take the hits. Literally. And say nothing. But she's not saying nothing anymore. Now, let's talk about the league's delayed reaction and what that silence really means. It took nearly 72 hours for WNBA officials to say anything about the hit that left Caitlin Clark wincing in pain, benched during crunch time, and at risk of missing All-Star Weekend. And when they finally did respond, it wasn't a press conference. It wasn't a league-wide statement. There was no video, no transparency, no accountability. Just a vague, tucked-away disciplinary note buried on the league's website, quietly confirming a suspension for Jacy Sheldon. For many fans, it was too little, too late, not just in timing but in tone. Because while Sheldon's one-game suspension is technically a punishment, it's hardly the kind of decisive action you take when the face of your league is assaulted in front of a national audience. And fans noticed, immediately. Within hours, ticket resale platforms exploded with listings for All-Star Game seats, prime front row spots suddenly available at half the price. Some fans didn't even want money back. They just gave their tickets away. The message? Loud and clear. If the WNBA won't protect its stars, fans won't support the product. Behind the scenes, the consequences are mounting. Indiana Fever staff are reportedly livid. Teammates are shaken, and insiders are whispering that this wasn't just a minor knock. Early evaluations suggest Clark may be dealing with a groin tear, something that could take weeks to fully heal. And that's assuming she avoids surgery. Her status for the All-Star game? Uncertain. Her availability for the second half of the season? In question. And that's when the outrage stopped being about just the foul and became something bigger. Because if Caitlin Clark, the player driving ratings, selling out arenas, pushing WNBA coverage into primetime sports segments, can be repeatedly targeted and still left unprotected, then what does that say to every young girl watching from home? To the thousands who bought her jersey? To the next generation of hoopers who dream of being in her shoes? It says this: even when you break records, even when you revive a league, even when you are the headline, you're still disposable. That's not just a failure. That's a crisis of leadership. Clark's own response has only deepened the impact. She's not ranting. She's not calling anyone out directly. But in her silence, there's power. And in the few words she has shared, there's unmistakable gravity. "I'll heal. I'll be fine," she said quietly. But the league has to decide what kind of game it wants this to be. That quote? It wasn't a complaint. It was a challenge. Because this isn't just about one foul. It's about culture. It's about what the WNBA allows in the name of physicality. It's about how long the league can keep ignoring the elephant in the room. That Clark has been targeted, shoved, tripped, and blindsided multiple times this season, while the officials consistently swallow the whistle. And the silence from Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is now starting to echo louder than any suspension ever could. No press availability, no public defense of her league's brightest star, no assurance that officiating standards will be reviewed, no roadmap forward. Fans aren't just frustrated, they're escalating. They've started tagging NBA Commissioner Adam Silver in viral tweets and Instagram posts, asking him to step in. Because the NBA does have a vested interest in the W's success. And right now, that investment is in jeopardy. And honestly, it's not just symbolic anymore, it's strategic. Because when your breakout player is getting blindsided on national television and your leadership is missing in action, someone has to step in. Whether it's Silver, a players' union, or a flood of media pressure, action has to be taken. Or the league risks losing more than just one player. It risks losing the trust it's spent years trying to build. Even sports media is turning up the heat. ESPN's First Take ran a full segment on Clark's injury. Hosts debated whether the WNBA is protecting its stars or putting them in harm's way. Former NBA players tweeted support. One comment stood out. If LeBron or Steph got hit like that and no foul was called, the league would burn down. And he's right. Caitlin Clark isn't just a promising rookie. She's a movement. She's the reason half the country is tuning into women's basketball for the first time in years. And yet, she's the one picking herself off the floor, game after game, while refs hesitate and opponents laugh it off. Which brings us right back to Jacy Sheldon. Yes, she was suspended. But is that really enough? One game for what could potentially bench the league's biggest asset? The fans don't think so, and increasingly, neither does the media. Clark hasn't named Sheldon directly, but her message couldn't be clearer. This league can be amazing, she said, but only if we protect the players who are building it. That wasn't just a quote. That was a warning, a line in the sand. Because if things don't change, if Clark ends up missing more games, if players keep getting away with cheap shots, if leadership keeps hiding behind silence, then this won't just be a PR problem. It'll be a fan exodus. It'll be momentum lost, trust shattered. And when that happens, the question won't be what happened to the WNBA. It'll be, why didn't anyone listen when Caitlin Clark tried to save it?
somebody, she hides it really well. And I don't know if hiding it or she handles it is probably the right thing to say. She handles the pressure. She handles all of the media spotlight, the attention.
What is your description of kind of the physical battle that Caitlin particularly faces, maybe within tonight's game or just in general as you've gotten used to coaching her, just what you see she's enduring physically?
Are you trying to get me fined again?
I am not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. I knew it as an opponent, and I see it as her coach. And I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is what it is. And we've got to help her learn to adjust and use it against them in certain ways. We've got to find some ways to make it a little bit easier for her.